Today's video we're going to talk about ZSB lighting upgrades. This comes up so often. It's really just a bit boring going through the same stuff, but there's actually quite a lot of misinformation, a lot of people doing very bad things. They're going to end up either hurting themselves or bike failing the MOT or just don't work. So let's start. Let's talk about what the problem is, and then we'll talk about what the options are. What's the best thing for you? Okay, so the ZSB headline, to be truthful, it's rubbish. It's really not very good, and there's a couple of reasons for that. First of all, they're quite cheap bikes, quite cheaply made, and so the cycle parts are not as good as one that you paid a lot of money for. You get what you pay for. I do believe they are really good bikes, don't get me wrong. I love the ZSB, really nicely made, and the important things are made well. The motor's good, the frame's good, the brakes are good, but on the cycle parts, and especially the lighting, is a bit rubbish, but it's not the end of the world. It can be resolved. Another issue with it is it's actually very small. It's only a 6-inch lamp. Most bikes have a 7-inch lamp. It's supposed to be like a sort of a customly retro look, and so it's quite a small headlight, so the smaller lamp gives you a smaller reflective area, and so it's just not going to be as good as a bigger lamp. Thirdly, the reflector is plastic, it's not metal. It's just a plastic reflector. That's probably not massively well made. It's not as well designed as maybe a good quality metal one. The lens is plastic. It's not glass. I know that's very common now with all modern bikes. Call me old-fashioned, but I still think the glass lenses are much better. They don't scour, they don't discolour, they don't go off with UV. They might not look as nice as the plastic lens, but give me a glass lens any day. I think plastic lens on any headlamp on any vehicle is just a really bad idea. I'm sick of trying to polish them on the car. It's just a nightmare. The actual headlamp shell is also plastic. It's very prone to cracking and damage. Okay, so what's the options for fixing this and improving the situation? Well, it very much depends on how you're going to ride the bike. If you're commuting, if you're riding the bike in town, if you're generally riding in daylight hours, then the headlight is less about lighting the way, and it's more about providing a contrast for safety and for visibility. And to be honest, the headlight isn't, even the best headlight is not designed to do that. What is really designed to do that is your daytime riding light, and I would very much suggest that the best course of action is to leave the headlight well alone and to wire in a daytime riding light. Now, there's another video here somewhere, I think one of my videos, where I put a daytime riding light on it. I've actually fitted them to quite a few of my bikes, even bikes with really good headlights, because I'm a big fan of that daytime riding light. It is much superior at producing a high contrast than a headlight. A headlight is designed to throw light up the road to be reflected back to you so you can see where you're going. A daytime riding light is designed to provide a very high contrast. It doesn't throw it just up the road, it throws a very wide beam so the cars in junctions can see it, and it provides a very high contrast. The LED, of course, is a very white light. The daytime riding lights, you see daytime riding lights on cars that are very strong light, they're very white, and that produces a very high contrast, and that makes them very safe and very visible, and that's what you're trying to do. So I would suggest that if that is your problem, you're not using it to ride country lanes, you don't need it, is the way to go is to leave the headlight well alone and to fit a daytime riding light. Now, for those who do want a good headlight, because you're riding overnight, you're riding country roads with unlit, then what people tend to do is fit an LED bulb. Right now, I would suggest not to do it. I don't really want to go into it. There's plenty of videos out there where you shouldn't fit an LED bulb. First of all, and the main one is that they're very diffuse, they don't give a good pattern, and they blind oncoming drivers, so that's not what you want. Secondly, it's going to fail the MOT, because your MOT man is well up to speed on all the notes that have come from the DVLA on why you shouldn't fit an LED light, so don't bother. What you can do is replace the whole unit. Now, I've never found a good unit that is suitable for the ZSB. First of all, it's 6-inch. Secondly, it has to have a lot of wiring in the back of it, which is traditional on quite little motorbikes, is that all the junctions or all the wires are in the back of it. And thirdly, a lot of them are US or from the continent, where they ride on the other side of the road, and so it will dip the wrong way. If it's not a neutral dip and it just dips down, it's going to dip the wrong way. It'll dip for a right-hand drive, and that'll fail the MOT. So they're the 3 things to watch for when you do that. But I would also go against these units that have got the indicators and everything built into them. I would go for a traditional LED unit. It must be suitable for left-hand drive, and it's not going to be cheap. You really do get what you pay for. If you put on a really cheap, nasty unit they bought from China, it's going to be dim, it's not going to be reliable, and the pattern's going to be awful on it, and it's just probably not going to be any better than what you've got. So another option, what you've got, instead of, this bike, because it gets used for commuting in daytime hours, it's got daytime riding lighting. See the shape of this. Oh, I'm going to move it, I don't really want to move it. It's designed to produce a wide fan of light to make it really visible. Another option you've got if you're doing nighttime riding is to fit projectors. So you could keep the existing headlight, leaving the 35 watt, the 35 watt filament bulb in, and fit 2 projectors or a small projector under here to give you the high beam. And I think that is probably, it would be the option that I would go for if I was doing a lot of nighttime. And there's nothing to stop you fitting both actually. You could fit a pair of small projectors either side here, have your daytime riding light, and as long as you've got your switch here, that you can make sure you can do it. Of course, it is vital with the daytime riding light is that you can turn it off overnight, because it is actually, because the light is so very much different to the headlight, it can be a real awful light to be using overnight. It reflects a lot off nearby objects and really ruins your night vision. So it is vital that you put a switch in. I think in the other video I do cover how to wire in the switch. Okay, so sum up there. The headlamp's rubbish. Don't fit an LED, you're basically not going to get anywhere. I advise against that. It might look good, but it won't be good. If you're just after good contrast, then I would fit a DLR, daytime running light, DRL, whatever they're called, I don't know. I would fit a daytime running light. I really like these ones, which give a nice wide fan. They are very, very bright, and they're excellent. That's what they're designed to do, and they do it well. I would always fit a switch. You want to be able to turn that switch off at MOT time, so it doesn't interfere with anything with the main lighting. And as I said, to turn off overnight is quite useful as well if you are doing some country lane driving or nighttime riding of any kind. If you do want a good headlamp, then your 2 options are to fit projectors, additional lamps on there, again with a switch that you can then use when you need them. It doesn't interfere with the MOT, and that will produce probably a much better light for high speed than fitting a new unit. But if you are going to go for a new unit, then I would always advise to fit the best quality one that you can, and not one of these mixed ones. Okay, so that sort of wraps it up. Hope that's useful to you, and we'll end it up there.